Hi everyone, thanks for asking. Today we're going to talk about the mail list control panel and data file manipulation. So let's begin by talking about the data file structure itself. So I'm going to click on mail list control panel, and this will probably look really familiar to you because it's mirrors what happens during import. But here is our header. Here is what it's been mapped to, what type of a file or field it was, the length, the precision, is it visible, and is it editable. Now you can always add fields, you can delete fields, you can move fields around, rearrange the order of the fields, and then you can also have the ability to change the name here. So perhaps instead of calling this or current resident, I'll just shorten this to OCR. And I'll modify that. Now, in preferences, you can establish what's always visible in addition to the name and address fields. So I will click on Preferences and then Visible Fields, and you can include whatever fields that you want to add just by moving them over to the right and saving it. All right, now let's talk about what fields are returned after processing. So once you've run zip+4 and COA or do by D or pre-sort, you will be getting back fields returned on the data file that you are not visible, but they are certainly there. So if I were to go up into the help bubble and then click on contents, this brings up the help documentation, and you'll see fields returned after processing here. And I am going to expand this, and I will just click on the zip+4 field. So after we run zip+4 processing, we will append to the data file all of these different things. So we will identify what type of an address it was, what's the county name, county code, congressional district, carrier route, etc. We've also got, way down at the bottom, we've got the error status fields. Now this might be important for you to identify exactly what's wrong with a record that didn't zip+4, and that's awfully helpful. Take a moment and review what fields are returned after each of these different types of processes. If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be happy to give you some more details on it. So look in the help documentation. So let's talk about filtering. I'm going to go up to mail list. First two boxes are the filtering capability. Now, let's say I want to identify every record I ran that did not zip+4. So I will click on the DPV, which is the delivery point validation, ends and blanks. So in the fields returned after processing, we know that the DPV_flag is either empty or contains an N, and those would identify the records that don't zip+4. And then if I wanted to make the error codes visible, I could do that, and then you would be able to have a more complete file to send to your customer if you need to do that. All right, I'm going to clear this filter. Let's just look at another filter here. So let's say I want to say NCOA moves. Actually, this is not a good example because this has got OCR. So let's just talk about DPV vacants. All right, so these are the addresses where either the P.O. box has been closed or it's a vacant address. All right, I'll clear that filter. Now let's talk about, you can either duplicate records if you need to do that. You can delete certain records. Let's say you need to find someone that you for sure want to get off the mail list and not send them a piece. So you can delete individual records or blocks of records. You can delete all of the records if you want to zap the file and start over, keeping the file structure. You can sort records. Sometimes people like to sort by zip. You can choose ascending or descending, and this will put everything in zip code order. Edit field. Now, edit field is a very popular one. First question is what field do you want to edit? And let's say I'm going to choose my OCR field. What rows or what records do you want? You can either do all, a selection, a filter, or from this record to that record. And then what are the editing options? So you can either add a fixed value, you can auto-increment the list if you wish, you can add a sequence number, you can fill the field with like concatenated data, you can change the casing if you want to upper, proper, lower. You can change spacing. Sometimes files come in and they've got irregular spacing, so you can remove multiple spaces into one space or leading spaces. You can clear an entire field. You can split names, so take a full name field, split it to first, middle, last. You can reverse a name, so take last, comma, first, and flip it around. If you have a field that has city, state, and zip in it, we can parse that as well. And you can also create IMB fields based on the information that you know about the STID and the class of mail. Okay, so this comes in handy if you're doing like a business reply or courtesy reply envelope or a ballot mail, something along those lines. So I will, for this example, I'm going to take OCR, I'll take all records, and I'm going to add a fixed value, and because we're doing this for the local pizza shop, I will say to the pizza lover at, and then we'll add that fixed value, and now we've got the new slug there to the pizza fan. Okay? All right, let's talk about marking and samples. So marking and samples, so you're going to take the population of the whole list or a selection or a filter, and then you want to mark some records. So you can either do a percentage, you can do a total, or it could be like every 10th record, and then you would mark that. This comes in handy if you are a marketer and you're setting up a test and control panel to get a better distribution. Another thing that people might use this for is that, let's say they've got too many records and not enough stock, and if they want to eliminate a handful, let's say they need to drop the mail list by 40 records or something, they can certainly mark 40 records randomly, post an X, and then just delete those records from the file just to reduce it. So that's comes in handy. And then lastly, you can count records if you wish. One of the things that people do quite a bit is they'll want to do a 3-digit zip distribution. So this would be the 3-digit SCF, and this will just give you a real high-level overview of where the concentration is of your 3-digit sort. Now you can also find dropship candidates on the entry point screen in pre-sort. But this is just a quick, easy way to do that. So we've covered quite a bit of ground here, understanding the mail list control panel and how the data is set up, understanding what the fields returned after processing are, and how to identify filters to use to identify different values within the selections is awfully handy. So I hope you found this tutorial beneficial. If you do have questions, please feel free to reach out, either live chat, if you give us a phone call, or send us an email. We're always here to help. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for joining me today.